Hi folks, my name is Joe Calafiore, and I'm here today to tell you how simple it is to make wine at home from pre-manufactured kits. Here's an example of a kit. This particular kit happens to be made by Brew King from British Columbia, Canada, one of the biggest and oldest companies around. And these kits come in 7.5 liter and 15 liter, which is roughly 2 gallon and 4 gallon. In the kit you will find a Mylar bag with concentrated grape juice, sterilized by the way, a package of bentonite, which is an inert clay, a package of yeast, a package of sodium bisulfite, which is an agent that stops fermentation in the second stage, a package of sorbitol, which is a stabilizing agent, and a package of chitosan or isinglass, which actually puts the wine in a colloidal state to suspend the particles from the wine itself. Wine in the fermentation state is called a must, an M-U-S-T, and the sediment is called lees, L-E-E-S. We have 45-day wine cycles, then we have 28-day wine cycles. This particular one happens to be a 28-day wine cycle. And by that I mean the wine is ready to drink in 28 days, and then the longer you keep it, if it's a white wine, it should be a 90-day period where it just mellows or becomes more supple. Or if it's a 45-day wine, you should keep it at least 180 days to become more supple and get rid of some of the tannic properties that wine has, especially in the reds. These are some of the pieces of equipment that you will require to manufacture your kit. They're really inexpensive. There's nothing more than a plastic cylinder. This is called a wine thief, and that's for taking your wine and putting it in the cylinder, which will be used to take your specific gravity with the hydrometer, a thermometer to get the temperature of the wine, and a spoon to stir the wine when you put the yeast in. Now we're going to show you how we put all this together and start to use this equipment in the making of your wine kit. The first step now in the fermentation of our wine is to add approximately half a gallon of water to your fermenter. This is the fermenter. You will need one of these. You'll also need a 6-gallon carboy, glass, and you'll need a siphoning tube. And I am specific about having a glass carboy. You cannot use the Culligan-type plastic containers to put your wine in. Bacteria will make their way through the plastic and oxidize your wine, causing it to either turn to vinegar or just taint it. So please have a glass container. You must have glass. The next step for us to do now is to pour the bentonite. That water came up to approximately here in your fermenter. So we'll take our bentonite, which I told you before was an inert clay, which colloidalizes the particles of skins that may be in the grape juice. And in order to do this now, you sprinkle it very slowly, a little bit of the time. You don't want to sprinkle it too quickly while you're stirring because you will form clumps, and we don't want that. So sprinkle your bentonite slowly, a little bit at a time, stir it in. The liquid will be turning brown now. The water will be turning brown. Sprinkle a little bit more until you're done and slowly turn it into this brown liquid. Now that we've completed that step, we're going to take our juice. And folks, be careful when you pour this and when you open the lid. It really stains clothing bad and it splashes all over the place. So gently hold your bag and pour in your juice. Stir your juice in to mix with the bentonite solution, and you'll smell that beautiful smell of sweet grapes right now. The next procedure will be to take an additional 3 to 4 gallons of water and add it to your juice to the 7-gallon mark, which is approximately right here. Once you've done that, you'll take your spoon and stir it again, and then we're going to go to the next step, which is the beginning stage of your fermentation. But before we do that, we're going to have to take a specific gravity reading, which is the relationship of water, which is a specific gravity of 1, to a specific gravity of a denser solution, which is the wine. And this is how we do that. We take our wine thief, and by the way, the wine thief works by placing it into your wine. This little valve on the bottom will pop up, and it will fill to the level as what you push it down to. I'll show you that in a second here. I'm going to put it down, and you have to do this a few times. I just touch the valve to the side of the tube. Okay, now that we've filled our tube with the wine, we're going to take our specific gravity by using our hydrometer. And I told you that a hydrometer is used to take specific gravity, which is the relationship of specific gravity of one for water to the specific gravity of the wine, which is a denser material. So therefore, the hydrometer will float. As the wine turns into alcohol later on in other stages, you will find that the hydrometer will go down more, which indicates the fermentation of your wine into alcohol. This hydrometer is marked with various lines and numbers on it. Some tell sugar content, others tell specific gravity, and boiling, which is another name for sugar content in another relationship. When you put your hydrometer in the cylinder, spin it. And what that does is release any gases that might adhere to it so it fully floats and give you an accurate reading. And when you read your hydrometer, the line on top here is called a meniscus. Well, you won't be able to see the lower portion of this meniscus or this line because of the dark colors of some of the wines. So what you will do is read the top portion and add one more line, which indicates 2 more points. In this case, the hydrometer reads 1.042. So I'm looking at the top line now, so I add another point to it, be 1.044. And I will record that because at the end of your processes, if you wish to know your alcohol content, what you do is just take the initial number and the last number, subtract them, and that will give you the percentage of alcohol. These kits are very consistent, and they always come out with 12+% alcohol. Now I take the wine I just used here, but let me tell you one more thing here. I'm going to take the temperature, which if you have a 72 to 76 degree room, it's perfect. But I want to take the temperature of the wine right now. It's for extrapolation purposes, which you don't have to worry about as long as your room is between 72 and 76. This would be the technical end if you're like in a winery. So now that we've done that, I will pour this back in because that's all good stuff here. And we go to the first step of actually starting to make alcohol. And how we do that is by taking our yeast. Now remember, folks, this is yeast in a dormant state. Yeast is a living organism. So you will sprinkle it slowly on top of your wine, or must as we call it in the industry. Slowly. Try not to get it on the sides of the bucket because you want it all to be in the wine. And slowly turn it in. Once you've completed that, and you can see how simple this was. Take your lid, which has a rubber grommet, put it on and lean on it very heavily, and you will hear it snap in place. And that rubber grommet keeps any air from going in, turning your wine bad. This little unit on top is what they call an airlock. It allows the carbon dioxide, which is a product of fermentation, to escape and not let any air in, which would in turn taint your wine or turn it to vinegar. It is most important from here on in that each stage of this winemaking, you keep water in the airlock until you bottle your wine. And there it is. Now we're done with stage 1. Now, for the second stage of your winemaking, you will carefully remove the lid from your fermentator, set it aside. What a lovely aroma. And we will take a siphon hose and siphon the wine from the fermentator to the 6-gallon carboy. You can get these any type of siphon you prefer from your local wine on premises store. That's the folks that sell you the kits. So what we do now, if you use one like this, and they have other types, what we're going to do is push it down to the bottom, and we're going to do this a second time in order to get the bowl full. Here's a reminder to you folks. You should have your fermentator at least 3 foot higher than your carboy to ensure a good flow. Okay, we've reached the end of the removal of the wine. You can leave your siphon right in the container because you're going to have to wash that out. All the lees are on the bottom. That's the sedimentation. Now this bottle at this point is not topped off. We're going to let this sit at about 72 degrees or 70 degrees if you can get down that low in your garage or your home for 10 days. But before we do that, we have to now put a stopper wooden airlock, like so. And again, fill that up here with water. Because actually this is the secondary fermentation stage. There's still gases coming off, ever so slowly, but they're coming off. So let's fill this up halfway like we did on the first step. And then we put it away for 10 days. Now we're at the stage 3 process, which is the addition of the chemicals and the clarifier. So here we go. Remove the airlock. Get yourself about a half a cup of water, which is approximately 4 ounces. And any household bowl will do, and some kind of a stirrer. First add your metabisulfite, which is package 2. Add it in here, stir it up until it dissolves. Within a minute or so, you'll have that done. Then you add your sorbate, which is your stabilizer. Put that in here, and it'll be like little grains of white pencil lead. That's what it will look like. And that will not dissolve totally, but stir it a little bit to dissolve it. When you're done at that point, carefully pour it into your wine. Now, the important part here is we have to release the gases that are going to start forming because we put these chemicals in. The bisulfite stops the secondary fermentation. The sorbate stabilizes the wine. So after we added that now, we take our spoon using the paddle end, put it in here, and you got to stir it for 2 minutes. So you can look at your watch. It has to be 2 minutes. And when you're halfway through, reverse it. And you'll see foaming taking place. See the foaming starting? And that foam is actually carbon dioxide gas coming off. Okay, when we've done that, take either the chitazan, which they give you with the kit, or isinglass. And these are nothing more than clarifiers. It's made from seashells and clam shells and any kind of crustacean shells. And carefully pour it in here. Or put it in your bowl and pour it in. Again, you must stir for 2 minutes, vigorous stirring. If you do not stir it, your wine will stay cloudy. And you cannot bottle cloudy wine because it will never, never clear. Okay, when you've done that, the next step was to top off the container. Again, with your purified water. During stages 2 and 3, you will notice visible sedimentation. The first time you will see cloudy wine with particles accumulating on the bottom. After you rack it, it will be clear, but there will still be sedimentation forming and falling to the bottle in the next rack. Some of that sedimentation may grow as far as 1 to 2 inches, and then on the last rack, maybe only an inch. At that point, which would be the end of the whole cycle, that's 1 day, you will rack it back into your fermentator and be ready to bottle. Your wine will be nice and clear and be ready to be enjoyed after you bottle. We are now at our 27th day, the day before bottling. We're going to rack our wine now back into our fermentator, and from the fermentator we will bottle the wine the next day. So let's proceed. So we'll start the siphon going, open the valve, and let her go. And as you can notice how clear the wine has gotten. What am I doing? Sanitizing my bottle, as I have to do with all the equipment I will be using in my winemaking process. The solution in here is nothing more than potassium metabisulfite, which you dissolve in water. And you could also do it the old way if you do not want to purchase one of these finators. Just put some solution in, shake the bottle all around, and let it dry. Or you can put it on a bottle tree and let it dry from there. And then you're ready to bottle. We're at our final stage here, which is bottling our wine. And we have to have everything elevated. So you at home should have your bucket 3 feet above your bottle at least to get a good siphon. Okay, so we're going to fill this bottle now because we're bottling. And here we go. You want to bring your wine up to a little above the neck of the bottle, right to about here on the bottle. And you will see it come up there. And the reason for that is so there's some space when you insert your cork to let the other gases escape. So remember, up to the neck of your bottle, so when you insert your cork, you have room for the gases to escape. Well, here we are at the final stage of bottling and corking our wine. We've had this cork sitting in a solution of potassium metabisulfite for 10 to 15 minutes. What this does is soften the cork up and kill any wild yeast that might be in the air. Well, you can get all these products at your wine store along with your cleaner for all your equipment before you use it. We place the cork on top and we use some type of a corker. Here we have one of the least expensive ones, which is a 2-lever corker. You place the cork in here, put it over the bottle, push down the 2 levers, it will insert the cork, and voila, your wine is done. Or if you want to really get serious about your hobby, you buy one of these floor-type corkers, which is called a Portuguese floor corker. Put your wine in here, your bottle up there, drop your cork on the top, pull the lever down, and there's your bottle of wine. Keep your bottle standing for 3 days to let any additional gases that might come out of the cork escape. Put your shrink wraps on top, your labels, lay them on their side at a conducive temperature, anywhere between 50 and 60 degrees, or under 70 degrees if you don't have the right area for a temperature. And within 90 days, you can drink this wine with pleasure. However, you can drink it immediately, both whites and reds. So thank you for listening. I hope we gave you some information how easy it is to make your wine at home and enjoy, be happy, and healthy. Thank you very much.